Nerds podcast with your hosts Mikey, Tim, and the two Chris's. So we put this episode off, or we put this part off till this week because last week the class action park took so long, which I watched. Did you end up watching it, Tim or Mikey?
No, I never got HBO, so.
It's really good. It was hilarious and entertaining.
It's funny.
But
I read like four articles on it. Like after we did the podcast, I was like, nice. We did it first.
I know.
That's right. I feel good about that.
So we were also going to do a Star Wars versus Star Trek discussion.
Yes.
And since the review or you guys talking about it took so long, not complaining, that was a good thing. We're pushing it off to today. So the battle lines are kind of been drawn. It's me and Tim versus Chris with a K and Mikey on Star Wars. Tim and I are Star Trek.
I like Star Trek. Let's not.
Well, and I like Star Wars, but
I like Star Wars too. But as of 6 minutes and 5 seconds ago, sucks balls.
I know. Brought to you by the Trek Chads.
Okay, so what makes Star Trek so much better?
Do you want to lead us off, Tim?
Please, I'm ready. I'm anxious to hear his argument.
Space, the final frontier, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
That's all you got is
700 episodes
that's all
and
you got
12 movies outrank your 9 movies.
Wait, yeah, but you can't count 2 of those because those are just rehashed of the Star Trek
All right.
story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 700 episodes and 10 movies.
But it's not the same. It's not the same story, you know.
And Star Wars still has Clone Wars.
No. We're talking Trek
Did you count
versus
the?
Wars.
You can't count the J.J. Abrams movies.
Okay, I'm
because
not counting them.
Then you
1 to
can't
10.
count the
J.J.
Star
Abrams
Wars
Star Trek?
stories.
Because
Yeah.
let's face it, the J.J. Abrams stories ruined Sulu.
All right, just let Tim talk. Let's just let Tim
It
talk. We'll
doesn't
fire
matter.
our counter argument.
We're saying Trek versus Star Wars.
Yes.
So all of Trek versus everything Star Wars. And again, my 700, even if I don't count my movies, I would rather watch some 2-parters than, by your own admission, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith aren't that good. You've said before.
Oh,
And I
I'll
know-
say it again. You're right.
And I know that a lot of people don't like 7, 8, and 9 entirely. At least one of them they're not a big fan of. So that leaves you the 3 original movies and 2 of the new ones that came out.
No, Sith is good. Let's not.
Okay,
Let's restate.
I like Sith too, but
It's the
all
first
right.
2.
So okay, 6. So I'll give you the. Revenge of the Sith, the 3 original, and 2 of the 3 new ones. That's 6 of your movies versus my 700 episodes. There are 2-parters of Star Trek that I would rather watch than some of those movies. For example, last night I just watched the 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine where he goes back in time to 2024 when America is a piece of trash and they have to fix the timeline that's a little broken. I would rather watch that movie than almost any of the Star Wars.
So hold on. So Deep Space Nine just rehashes old Star Trek episodes by going back in time to save the world.
I mean, there's bound to be a little repeating in 700 episodes.
Wasn't Force Awakens a copy pasta of A New Hope?
No, not really.
It kind of was.
I can say not really for my time thing because it wasn't exactly the same thing.
There were some differences from the original series version and and Deep Space Nine version.
First of all, I could take the original series out And when there's only
Why?
like
Wait, you can't
60
don't.
episodes.
You can't take the original app.
No,
You
no,
can't
I'm
take the
saying
original series.
even without them, I still say Trek wins. I just one again. I could pick any two part
Wait, you
in
cannot
any
do
of
that.
Star Trek.
But you
I could
can't do
pick
that because Kirk is like the essence of Star Trek. Without Kirk, there is no Star Trek.
Without Picard, there's no Star Trek.
Oh, there is
And
much
Picard is
definitely
awesome.
this
as
was definitely
much
a Star
as
Trek with Picard.
as much as I love Picard and William Shatner, both of them would get punched in the face by Benjamin Sisko, and that's how that story would end.
Cisco did punch Q in the face.
Punch Q in the face, he wins. I mean, as much as I love Picard, I think Sisko might be my favorite captain.
So you're just basing Star Trek's greatness just based on the amount of episodes? That's all. That's your argument. So your argument is that there's all these episodes of Star Trek and there's only 6 good Star Wars movies. That's a I can't buy that argument.
I would say the lore in Star Trek also wins of Star Wars. Star Trek is also more believable and closer to reality than Star Wars.
Star Trek is more based
So
on
you
facts
watch Star Trek based
Space
on
wizards.
reality.
No, I'm just saying it helps having a realistic element for certain things. It's a little bit more relatable.
It's more believable when there's actual science behind it, other than space wizards using magic to shock each other.
Some of the characters are a lot better.
The character development is
spaceships. Oh please, Star Trek wins hands down.
No.
Yes.
No.
Versus Millennium Falcon any day of the week.
The most beautiful starship of all time is the Sovereign class Star Trek or Enterprise from the latest movies.
Picard could make the Kessler run in way less than 12 parsecs. At least.
Okay, hold on. First, Picard would probably get shot under the table by Han Solo. So because he's such a bitch. So there's no way he's gonna make the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Picard's had to deal with like plenty of foreign diplomats that have tried to kill people on the ship before.
Picard had to deal with the Romulans and the Klingons, some of the most well-known villains in all of cinema history.
So he's he's like the France of captains.
Oh, here's over
for everybody.
Here's one more thing I was thinking of last night. The biggest, baddest bad guy in all of Star Wars is, I would say, the Empire as a whole. Yeah, the entirety of the Empire is a pretty fearsome and terrifying foe. If they flew into the Delta Quadrant, they would last maybe a week before getting wiped out by the Borg.
Oh my God! This is the most ridiculous.
The Borg adapt and assimilate.
Just saying, there's nothing that they could.
Dude, they have unlimited amount of clones. Granted, they can't hit anything, but they do have an unlimited amount of clones.
They only have an unlimited amount of clones until the Borg take over your cloning facilities.
But there's no way the Borg would be able to. Yeah.
Stormtroopers aren't clones.
Because we all know that Darth Vader allowed the Millennium Falcon to get captured. They allowed them to get away. All of that stuff was allowed by the Empire. And
but they
say
still,
otherwise is crazy.
The Empire still let some little farmer kid from backwards planet shoot one little missile into a hole the size of a womp rat.
He used the Force. He did use the Force, and let's not forget that was planted so that it would be easily destroyed anyway. That was built into the Death Star.
Did they not have any military strategists overlooking, making sure there's no weaknesses, no glaring weakness? A trench.
You hire an engineer. And, okay, this goes back to the whole clerks argument with subcontractors. Now it always goes down to the lowest bidder, right?
Railing. All I wanted was a railing.
Much like our space shuttle, was the Death Star built by the lowest bidder?
That's even more of an example that the Empire would get ruined by the Borg
Plus,
Now
how many Enterprises has there been? How many have they blown up? There's been like 6 generations of the.
And it's not necessarily just when it blows up. They just decommission them half the time, just like they do to some ships in the water. Yes. The first Enterprise didn't get destroyed.
It got decommissioned, and then the second one didn't get. Well, the second one did get destroyed by Romulans.
Yeah, the second one did get destroyed.
Yeah, the second one blew up into little pieces. And then they built the third one, and then Picard's is the fourth one.
Okay, so let's go based off of forget the. Let's go to the. I'm looking more of Star Wars rules over anything Star Trek, based on the universal love of Star Wars and how it crosses every parallel. It's on every. It can be on any TV show. You'll see Star Wars more on any television show, universally across the movies, in music, in other movies. Fanboys alone is based off of Star Wars fans.
I could put up the "Live Long and Prosper" sign anywhere on Earth, and I bet people would know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
also no universe.
Let's let the Star Wars people have their chance.
Wake me up when they're done.
Okay, so as a child of the original Star Wars era, now granted they did have the Miko Star Trek people, and they had the you have toy line, you have, I mean, there were Star Wars lunchboxes. Granted, there were probably Star Trek lunchboxes. I don't know if they had. You could get Star Wars on anything from folders for school to notebooks to mini notebooks to pencils to pajamas to T-shirts to hats to costumes, Halloween costumes. I was a stormtrooper as a child for Halloween. Plus, you had all the guns. I had the stormtrooper rifle. You had Han Solo's gun. You had every single. I mean, I'm not sure if they had. I think they only had models. I don't know if they had actual Enterprise toys. I think they just had like the bridge, but you didn't have the whole Enterprise that you put action figures in to fly around in space, and you didn't have, a bird of prey with Klingon. I think you just built models. So you've got that alone. Well, like I said, fanboys. Did anybody see the movie Fanboys besides me and Chris?
I didn't.
What about Spaceballs? That's a good one.
Spaceballs, again, a parody off of Star Wars. Not Star Trek, but Star Wars. Star Trek has universally been known to make fun of it. Even when William Shatner hosted Saturday Night Live, he was at a comic book. He was at a convention, a Star Trek convention, and all these people were like, they were asking like questions, like he was actually Captain Kirk, and he goes off on these Trekkies. He's like, you, have you ever kissed a girl? And the guy gets all mad and goes to the back of the ring because it's a more nerd-based, a more nerdy science-based fandom than Star Wars. So I think Star Wars touches people more universally than Star Trek ever will. So you can take your 700 episodes and your 19 movies and your cartoons, and it will never compare to the greatness, the awesomeness, and the cross parallel that Star Wars has ever done.
I got a few things to add.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you touched on it a little bit. The music in Star Wars, I think, is better than anything I've heard in Star Trek.
I agree.
Star Wars has better memes. That's very important.
Nothing will beat the Picard meme.
Picard
No,
memes.
get out
Picard
of here.
memes.
Riker
Name
memes?
one Star
No,
Trek.
never.
Name
Never
one Star
happened.
Wars meme that's not with the Anakin.
Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wyatt?
No. Okay. Okay.
Better catchphrases are in Star Wars.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
A lot of those catchphrases come from horrible.
Do or
actors.
do not. There is no try. I mean, boom.
You can't deny how cool Han Solo is. He's cooler than anybody in Star Trek.
I think I'm gonna go kill myself. I'm pretty sure that's what I just. Oh my god.
And wait. And Star Wars has days. May the 4th be with you. Return of the 5th.
Oh,
Revenge of the 6th.
Day.
And what's that? Deep Space Nine isn't a real Star Trek. It's just a mediocre Babylon 5 ripoff.
Shit,
That was slick.
I did not see that. Okay, I'm really
Oh wait,
impressed with
I
that
got one
reference right
more.
there.
I got one more. The best possible Star Trek combination possible would be J.J. Abrams' movie starring Neelix and Wesley Crusher, with the red matter causing the effect of the breaking the warp-10 barrier, causing all involved to hyper-evolve into salamanders.
There's a few different episodes smashed into that.
That's the combination. That's the best possible combination.
That's the
Did we look
best
that?
combination of the worst possible episodes and characters.
Did we look that up on Google right
Yeah.
there? Because that was actually a really sick burn. I have to admit it.
And think about it this way: of all the Star Trek 700 episodes, blah 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 blah, Picard is the greatest. The greatest Star Trek movie is Star Trek 2, because
I
the greatest Star Trek movie ever is Star Trek.
don't
2,
think so.
Wrath
Wrath
of
of Khan is amazing, but
I
you
don't
can't
think
That is
forget
the,
about
that is, out of your 700 episodes
Generations is
and
pretty
12
good.
movies,
What did Star
Star
Wars
Trek
do
2
with all of that?
Star
all
Trek
of that
2 is the most
profit,
quotable.
though? What did
What?
Star Wars do with all of that profit from all of those trinkets and lunchboxes and stuff? They didn't even it took forever to put out a new movie, and again, it was barely even. All you have is your movies.
Star
That's-
Trek or
that's
Star Wars
my-
might be dead
I-
after the
if I
last
was-
3 movies.
If I was stuck on a desert island with one TV show, one series, it would be Star Trek and not Star Wars.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so there's this guy. I used to live in Florida, and there's this guy that lives there. His name is Stephen Saint, and he is a missionary. And actually, his dad was a missionary, and his dad would. They went to South America. This was it was in Life magazine, I think, back in the 50s, and his dad was killed by these Indians, these Indians in South America, as he was a missionary. Well, so this guy, his name's Stephen Saint. He is a missionary. He made friends with the people that murdered his father, and I'll get to the point here in a second. So, he lived with the Indians for the longest time. He lived in the jungles of South America with these tribes. And what movie does he introduce to the Indians when he takes the TV and VCR generator and all this stuff? What movie does he introduce them to? Star Wars, not Star Trek. He introduces them to Star Wars.
Indians in South America. Okay.
What?
There's no Indians in South America.
Are you kidding me? Are you friggin' kidding me? There's no Indians in South America.
They're natives.
I don't think they'd call them Indians, considering they're not from India.
Oh my God. They're called the
Are they
Quechua. They're
native
called the
South
Quechua
Americans?
Indians. You have the internet. Use it. Google Quechua Indians. Look it up.
Okay,
So
back
what?
to,
But my point is, what movie did he introduce them to? Of all the movies, of all the things that he introduces them to, what is the movie he introduces them to? Star Wars, not Star Trek. Star Wars.
Shame for them. Oh, they're called the Amazonian Quichuas, by the way.
He calls
First
them,
thing on
they're called Quechua Indians. So.
First thing on Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah, consider your source Wikipedia.
What do you mean? Where else am I supposed to?
Anyway, so look
type
up look up the name Stephen Saint, and it'll explain to you how his dad was murdered by the Quechua Indians, and he made friends with them. And if you read the book End of the Spear, he talks about how he introduced Star Wars to the Quechua Indians. That's how big of a reach that Star Wars has over anything Star Trek.
It's a shame that if he was a fan of Star Trek, though, he would have just showed him Star Trek.
Well, he would have had to show him Wrath of
He
Khan.
was a fan.
No, you got to know by quote. I mean, Star Wars is one of the most quotable movies in the history of.
So is Star Trek. I could say the same thing about
Star Trek 2, maybe Star Trek 4.
All Star Treks. Star Trek, everything.
Quote me a line from Star Trek, the motion picture.
I don't know if I remember.
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
I hate quantum physics.
Damn it! I'm a doctor, not a blank.
Isn't that every movie he was in?
It's a pretty safe one right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the acting then. On a whole, the acting in Star Trek, granted Kirk might be an outlier there, I'll admit that one, has all been great. Let's talk
Aside-
about the kid in episode 1, Phantom Menace. He was
He's
a
just a
travesty.
kid.
You're such a bully. You're picking on the kid.
let's-
He's just a kid.
All right. Let's talk about the.
No, wait. I agree with you 100%.
Let's talk about the acting between Padme and Anakin in episode 2. That was so racist.
Well, we could probably cancel out all of episode 2, but maybe the last half hour of the movie, and I would be okay with that. That movie's awful. It's the Star Trek 5 of Star Wars movies. But yeah, Hayden Christensen, his acting ability is a little questionable, as is Jake Lloyd. But I don't know what it must have been the cuteness factor, because I don't even think he was that great in
Okay,
All the
so
Way.
my headset died. What was the last thing I said?
Something about
Picard
Hayden
takes it in
Christensen.
the rear end a lot. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, I'm just gonna go back to what I was saying. Hayden Christensen and the girl who played Padme had such bad chemistry on set that they couldn't act together.
Like,
and then Harrison Ford
First Contact might be the best Star Trek movie.
Wait. What about Harrison Ford?
In Return of the Jedi, Harrison Ford completely phoned in his performance because he did not want to be there. He was just there for the paycheck.
Wow.
He's such a cool guy.
And let's be honest, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill are the only ones that really have a career after Star Wars who didn't already have a career.
Are you kidding?
I don't even think
Carrie
Han Solo's that cool, to be honest with you. So
you can't say that. No. James Earl Jones
What did
was
he
the
do?
voice of Darth Vader. Okay,
Yeah,
so he had a career after Star Wars. Carrie Fisher became an author. She wrote Postcards from the Edge, which they made a movie out of.
Who cares about Carrie Fisher?
So what did Lieutenant Uhura do after Star Trek, other than being Lieutenant Uhura at Star Trek conventions?
Oh, what did William Shatner do after Star Trek?
Oh my God, he did T.J.
one
Hooker?
of the biggest celebrities on Earth.
He did T.J. Hooker. That's one of the biggest TV shows of the 80s.
What did Picard do after Star
Patrick
Trek?
Stewart, he voiced
everything.
over. He voiced over Ted. That was about all he did, really.
What do you mean?
That's it.
That's it.
Professor Xavier.
What did Shatner? I can't believe what did William Shatner do after Star Trek? Plus, then he made movies. Your movies that you talk about are so great. How can you not say what about Leonard Nimoy? I mean, he
made the movies.
He made movies too. Plus, he was in Mission Impossible after Star Trek.
Jonathan Frakes is basically the head of Star Wars now, or not Star Wars, Star Trek. Jesus. So,
just more reasons why blow Star Wars out of water.
So have you been to Iowa, to the home of the birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk, like all the other people, with your rubber Spock ears? How do you say I'm going to die a virgin in Klingon?
There's another perfect example of how Star Trek is better. They have a whole language that they created. Star Wars, they have nothing like that. They made up a whole language. Data is a better robot than C-3PO or R2-D2 could ever hope to be.
No.
Yes.
At least R2-D2
R2-D2 is the most important droid in the history of droids.
I will give you that. At least Data has an unfair advantage because he's biped. Or I mean, I guess C-3PO is biped.
And you could say that
like a piece of trash.
Okay, who is the Carrie Fisher in Slave Bikini in Star Trek lore? Who is that comparison?
Dax.
So do you go to comic book conventions and see people dressed up like Dax the way you do slave costume Leia? Is it every guy?
Oh wait, are you saying Star Wars is only better because of Layla as a sex kitten chained up
is
by
it every
Jabba.
guy's fantasy? What's every guy's fantasy? To have his girlfriend dressed up like who? Like Leia in a slave costume.
Oh, I would take Dax all day, 100% over. Carrie Fisher's not even that good looking. Let's just get that out of the way. Even
Oh my
Prime,
dude, that was
okay?
like that was. Let me say
Of like the 70s, and
slave
as a child of the 90s,
that
people
was
of the
80.
70s with big 70s,
That
80s
was
with big hair and
83.
stuff.
That was not the 70s.
I'm sorry, there was such a big difference. People still had big hair, and our generation still thinks your generation looked ridiculous when they were our age. And I don't
Bunch of
think
You
boomers.
don't even your
I don't-
generation don't even know what bathroom to use, and you're worried about my generation with big hair.
I don't think I could. If I look up a picture of Dax and look up a picture of Leia, Dax is gonna win all day.
The Leia slave costume was put into the spank bank of every 13-year-old and up little boy throughout the history of the world, and that is a fact. And hold on, so it's such a cultural icon that it was in a Friends episode when Friends was the hottest show on television in the
There's
90s.
plenty of Star Trek things in pop culture, so don't give me that.
What,
Where?
the Big Bang Theory? That's trash.
What?
Star Trek in Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is basically trash. I don't like it.
Why? I think it's great.
Friends is trash also.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, whoa,
Oh God!
you know,
Now y'all are going into another level of hatred.
are we about to turn heel? Me and Chris team up on Chris and Leia and Friends
I
right
know,
now.
right? Because
Uh,
what's great about the Big Bang Theory is that they embrace both Star Trek and Star Wars throughout
okay,
the whole
I
series.
can understand that. That's fine.
Because they had the photo shoot out in the desert in the costumes where Leonard's car gets stolen.
Okay.
Plus, they celebrate May the 5th every year, or May the 4th every year.
But I want to go back
Trek-
to when
Star
you
Trek
said
is coming out.
Star Trek was closer to reality, Tim, because I mean, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I don't watch movies to get closer to
No,
reality.
I understand
And
that.
that's why I like Star Wars, because it's like it's fictional, it's make believe, it's awesome. I mean, you got lightsabers and shit, and the Force.
I mean, it may be closer to reality, but it's still far enough, into the science fiction where it's
I mean, the
you
Force
get
is
away
just.
from it.
I mean,
And it's that future that we all want where, peace on earth and we're like, you know, exploring space. Because what's the saying? Born too late to explore the world, born too early to explore space.
that's right.
And it's a fantasy. Let's go exploring space.
And, be like Kirk and screw every alien
Hey,
in the universe.
hey,
That is in every teenager's dream to bang an alien on the other side of the galaxy. I don't know what everybody else did in Mass Effect, but I can tell you right now that the Asari were my choice of partner.
I don't know. All the aliens I've seen in movies that are, they're scary.
Except the three-breasted one in Total Recall.
that was a mutant.
Ugh,
All right.
I don't have anything. I don't know. Lightsabers are cool.
Lightsabers are cool.
I'm,
I will
You know-
agree that they have the better of the cooler of the two weapons of the weapons.
What weapon
mean,
does Star Trek have?
the
Like the base
phaser.
gun? Yeah.
Well, the
They
have
bat left.
they
The
have the
bat left's
phaser.
pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, the Batleft's pretty cool. I do
Oh
like
yeah, the
Batlift.
Batlift is cool. But then you're guaranteed
And-
if you're wearing a
and I
red
like-
shirt and you're going down to a planet, you're dead.
I like the little one. That's only true in the first series, though. In the original series.
After that, it's yellow shirts. But the meme
No,
was red shirts.
No, because yellow shirts are well, I guess they're ensigns. So
Security.
And I still don't understand that. All the shirts. I don't.
No, there's no really rhyme or reason to it. The
Red is like
I-
command and
I would
security.
like to point out that the other night I watched the episode of Deep Space Nine called Trials and Tribulations,
Great.
which I have to say is a masterpiece. They perfectly blended. They in this episode. I mean, Deep Space Nine came out what, Chris? Like 80s,
No, it's
90s,
90s.
early
It was
90s,
90s,
Like,
yeah.
92, 93, something like
Yeah,
that.
it was 90s, yeah.
They for being in the 90s, they took the old an old episode of the original series
Trouble with
and
Tribbles.
yep, and mashed in the new people in the background of, like, literally it's a part where Kirk and Spock walk up to a thing, panel to talk to somebody over the intercom, and I was actually bouncing between the old episode and the new episode on CBS to see if I could, like, see the differences, and it's really just like the scene with like new people in the background, or like new people walking by. The whole fight in the bar or in like the lounge or whatever, it's such a perfectly choreographed, like, scene.
redo.
I was reading up on it and stuff like that. They went frame by frame through the old episode to recreate the old set so that way they could do this. It is a masterpiece of an episode.
So you got one episode. That's
No,
wonderful.
for
It
me,
was it was a really good episode.
the best episode of Deep Space Nine was in the Pale Moonlight when Cisco gets the Romulans to join the war.
I don't know. There's better episodes than that.
Here's the kicker. This is gonna see the deal why Star Wars is so much better than
Like,
Star
I could
Trek.
talk Star Trek all
Here
day.
is the
It's so
here
much
is the
about Star
here is
Wars.
the deal breaker for you Trekkies with your fake pointed ears
You Trek Chads.
and your and your and your phasers. Does it have its own land at a major theme park?
Well, for
No,
one,
it
it's
does
not owned
not
by
have its
Disney.
own land
It's
at
not
a
owned
major
by
theme
a
park.
corrupt, terrible
It
company.
doesn't even have its own ride at a major theme park. That is
It kind of felt
visited
being
by
owned by Disney.
people from all over the world go to this theme park just to go to this land.
Well, not anymore.
They just did
They
that,
hate
though.
COVID.
So you can't even count that. They just bought Star Wars.
That's your argument? They just bought Star Wars?
I'm just saying, if
I'm
we
just
had
saying.
if we had this podcast 3 years ago, you couldn't use that as an argument.
But what? So if we had this argument in the 80s, you wouldn't have this. You wouldn't have
No, that's
700
a big-
episodes
that's
as an argument.
No, but if I had it in the 90s, I'd still be up to 700. I'd still be at 600 episodes. So I'd still win.
Did you include Lower Decks on those episode numbers?
I did, actually.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I mean, it's not exactly.
I mean,
but it's
I wonder
pretty close.
what. Okay, so if you go to Star Trek land, what do you build? Do you build one of the tricorders, or you do build a phaser?
I mean,
Probably
or
build
do
the
you-
command deck. I'm
Do you,
guessing.
no, you build a light. You go to Star Wars land and you build a lightsaber. You build your very own lightsaber. What
For
do you?
$400.
I mean,
that's
there's really
right.
not many Star Wars
So-
rides
so
that you're
for
gonna have that you're
$400,
not gonna just
let me go
create
to
out of
Star Trek
thin air,
land
though.
and let me go to Star Trek land so I can build my own tricorder.
Have you
That
been to
sounds
Star
exciting.
Wars World or whatever? What rides do they have? Besides the only three things that I would think would be worth making a ride of are the race from the very first movie, from Phantom Menace, him blowing up the Death Star, and
Probably a Millennium Falcon one.
The
and
ride
probably like
That's what
I
they've got
watched-
is the Millennium Falcon one.
And
There's a
that's it.
ride where you either go
So
with
aside from like a few things from the movies, the rest of them are all made up rides just from
Okay,
people's
so what do you do?
ideas.
What do you do in Star Trek land? Try to beat the Kobayashi Maru?
Dude, that'd be fun.
I mean, yeah,
Pretty
they've
bad.
got that. It's called Escape Room. Okay. You can go to
I'm trying to
Indianapolis and do
escape from
that.
this conversation.
And I don't know what your obsession with the Millennium Falcon is. It's a rust bucket compared to the state
Hey,
of
it
the
ain't
art.
much, but it's got it where it counts, kid. That's what
It
it
has
is.
nothing
Okay.
where it can blow it up with one photon. It would blow the Falcon up into tiny pieces.
But I'm just gonna say everyone here loves both sides. You know, this is just fun banter.
Oh yeah. No, there's no ill will. I enjoy Star Trek very, very much. I've always been a fan of the Kirk era. You know, that's my era is the Kirk era. So
To kind of, I don't want to say bring this
You're
in,
gonna
but
pick the
let's
worst
switch gears.
episodes.
Let's. What do you mean worst episodes?
of what?
The original series is the worst of all of the Star Wars.
The original series has some really good episodes.
No,
but
there's some really
it
good.
didn't age well.
No, there are some good episodes. I've seen some good episodes, but collectively, I would say that
know what?
any of the other series are better.
But you know what?
Except maybe Enterprise.
When Star Trek came out, it was really ahead of its time, and that's
Yeah.
why it only made what, like 3 seasons, I think.
4 seasons.
Because four
The
seasons.
4 seasons was like a year or two after it was canceled, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't pick up again until they started showing, you know, the
Well,
reruns.
because they so my mom loves the original series, and she loved it because they would show the syndication like Friday nights on because you know back then you had 3-4 channels and syndication.
Right.
She would watch it on Friday nights instead of going out, or if she didn't go out or anything. And her and my grandparents loved Star Trek, and she refuses to watch anything else other than the original series.
I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way.
But I
missing out on some of the best episodes.
You know, comparing the two,
they made the
Star
greatest
Wars has-
Wait, hold on a second, Chris. They made the greatest Star Trek movie is based off of an original Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fact.
Well, no. So long live and prosper.
Live long. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
But you know, let's switch gears to like comparing like, you know, I honestly think Star Trek has the better games. TV, Star Wars.
I don't
Actually, no.
agree.
Screw that. I got it
Star
mixed
Wars
up.
has
Yeah, I was
Star
like,
Wars
Star
has
Wars,
better
yeah.
games. Star Trek has a better
Besides
TV.
Star Trek Online, that's really the only game.
There were some other ones. There's one where you like commanded ships and you like just blew each other up. But honestly, other than Star Trek Online, there's no good Star Trek games.
I mean, Star Wars also has plenty of flopping games too. For every great game that they have a piece of hot garbage.
We could blame
that
EA
they
for
don't.
that.
Well, no,
You
there's
can-
still a lot of solid
You can
garbage.
blame EA for a lot of things in life.
LucasArts made a lot of stinkers out there. No, but honestly, if I had to actually choose between the movies, I would go Star Wars, just because they're more fun. Some of those fun events we had was, you know, all getting together and going to like, you know, getting to the movie theater 3 hours early to go watch Force Awakens.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
And you know what? We sat there and we talked Star Wars with everybody around us.
How do you guys feel about J.J. Abrams directing both Star Wars and Star Trek?
Okay, so
Really can't handle that.
when he went into Star Trek, he did not look into, from what I can remember being told, reading, he never looked into like what he was doing. Like he kind of has a basic knowledge of Star Trek, but he
Yeah.
didn't look into any of the previous works. But when he goes into Star Wars, he does all his research and everything. I was like, dude,
Right.
I don't want to say he ruined Star Trek, because honestly, 2 of the movies were actually pretty good. And
The only
darkness
thing I
sucked.
didn't like about his version of Star Trek was he had Spock yell Khan instead of Captain
Yeah.
Kirk. That was
Yeah.
my major complaint.
As I always said, the JJ movies would make really good Star Trek movie or Star Wars movies. God,
Yeah.
all these like And my brain's getting confused with all these words. But I don't know. In the book front, I've not found a Star Trek book I've liked, and I might just be reading the wrong Star Trek.
I didn't know they had Star Trek books.
There's like 7.
Yeah,
like
there
over
are. Yeah,
7
there's a
books.
lot of Star Trek books.
But the thing with Star Trek is Roddenberry said it has to be on TV for it to be canon. So the books are not canon. Unlike Star Wars, where you have to buy, why does C-3PO have the random red arm in Force Awakens? Oh, you have to buy the book to find out. No, I don't have to buy the book. Just tell me.
Just tell me, right?
I bet a quick Google search will tell you.
Yeah, but you should tell me in the movie. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have to do
Yeah,
all this stuff
I
just
agree.
to figure out. And the same thing with did you guys know that for Rise of Skywalker, the message the Emperor sent out before the movie, you had to play Fortnite to get that message.
Yeah, I'm not playing Fortnite. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
And the whole thing about the Emperor being a clone or whatnot,
No, the
that
Emperor
came out months after the movie.
Yeah.
We found that out. It's like, why didn't they just tell us?
Why didn't they just tell it? Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Star Wars has a really big problem of having these awesome characters that just fail. Like they just don't do anything with them.
Almost
Fett,
like they don't know how to structure a movie.
They don't. They don't know how to structure.
Well, I think they've created a universe that's too big to put into 9 films. Is what their problem.
Yeah, they need to do TV. I really want Star Wars to do more TV shows. I want them. They need to flesh out their universe more.
They did. They did the holiday special.
And the Mandalorian.
Oh my god, you and your holiday special.
Clone Wars.
Dude, the Mandalorian is so.
I wanna. Hey, I remember that was one of the things that I wanted to hear in the previous incarnation of this podcast was about the holiday special.
Okay, so when the holiday special came out, as horrible, as wretched as it is, back then there was only that. I mean, you got anything Star Wars? I mean, you got nothing Star Wars. You had the movies, and then you just kind of sat and waited, and then they would play them 6 months later in the movies. And so when that TV show came out, the holiday special, it was humongous. You're like, oh my god! And they introduced Boba Fett in a cartoon, which was kind of cool. We found out who Boba Fett was. Plus, during the commercials, it was all like Star Wars toys collect, So every commercial was Star Wars toys. So that, I mean, you got to base it on 1978, and it was a horrible time for television, and that show's just awful. You got to watch the riff track version just to make through it. So, but yeah, Princess Leia singing just didn't do it. I was like, what the hell is this? And you got Chewbacca's son Lumpy, and he was just bad in every way. But Star Trek: The Motion Picture was, along the same lines. So there you
go. 316.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything else to say or argue, bring up, compare, contrast?
Star Wars is the greatest movie canon in the history of movies. That's all I got.
One ring.
One ring.
I mean, if we're going real quick, Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings, are we in consensus that Star Wars wipes the floor with Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yes.
Even though Lord of the Rings,
can you really compare them?
Of course you can. You can compare anything. I can compare feet with hands. Okay, you can compare anything you want.
Apples to oranges.
It is, but that's those stupid Lord of the Rings people that say that it buries Star Wars. That's where that argument comes in. So that's the Lord of the Rings people looking for an argument that they'll always lose because there is no.
We have so many books.
There's no. But do you go to Lord of the Rings con? I mean, there's the Trekkies, there's a Star Trek con, and there's Star Wars Celebration. But again. Do you go around wearing, Frodo T-shirts? No.
Yeah, probably not.
Do you dress up?
No,
I guess you could dress up as. How many people dress up as Frodo?
I mean, Aragorn is a beast. Don't get me wrong.
Legolas was awesome.
Legolas. So is Legolas, but
Sauron.
Boromir, Faramir, Frodo, Sam.
Let's
The
be
other
honest. All
Who? Yeah,
all
I
the
go to a
halflings are
Halloween party. Who are you? I'm Sam. Who?
Yeah.
Sam. I am.
If I go in with black
Please
pants and a
don't eat
white
my
shirt
green eggs
and a if I go to a Halloween party and I got on black pants with boots and a white shirt and a black vest and carrying a laser blaster with me, everybody knows I'm trying to be Han Solo. It's that simple.
And the most relatable thing in Lord of the Rings is when one of the halflings asked for second breakfast.
Exactly. We all could live better with some second breakfast.
Exactly.
When you have characters named Merry and Pippin.
So I don't know. We could probably wrap it up with that. We all dislike Lord of the Rings. We can all agree. We can all agree that Star Trek and Star Wars is so much better than Lord of the Rings.
We may not agree that which one trumps each other, but we could definitely agree that they both beat the crap out of Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
That's good.
All right. Well, follow us at Twitter at Pod Nerds, Facebook at Hoosier Nerds. That's probably where you found us, and you know us. So,
And-
Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, YouTube.
And tell us who you think won. We'd love to know.
Or
Give us
tell
a like,
your-
listen, and give us a like, listen, or thumbs down. I mean,
let us know your argument if you want to. You know,
please
tell Tim he's dumb, or tell Christian
Yeah.
McKay he's well, no one's gonna say he's smart. No, I'm joking.
Well, I'll go at it if people want to comment.
But you want to take us out, Tim? Since it was your thing, and I can never remember what you said.
As Chris said, check us out on all of those different platforms, and you'll never wonder who's your nerds.